All right, so you think you know internet personalities. You think you've seen it all.
Oh, I doubt it.
Well, get ready, because today we're diving into a case study, a deep dive into the world of Kingcobrajfs.
Oh boy. This is gonna be good.
This guy is a bit of a legend, actually infamous might be a better word. He's got his own massive thread on Kiwi farms and a whole subreddit, r Kingcobrajfs00, dedicated to documenting every move he makes.
Dedicated. Or obsessed.
Maybe a little bit of both. But hey, that's what makes this so fascinating.
So for those not in the know, who is this Kingcobrajfs character?
Right, so Kingcobrajfs, real name Josh Saunders, is this self-proclaimed sexy goth bad boy who's carved out quite the niche for himself online.
Sexy goth bad boy. You're kidding me, right?
Nope, that's his brand, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're not here to judge his fashion choices, though.
Yeah.
I will say his wardrobe mainly consists of a very well-loved cowboy hat.
Ugh. The infamous Boglum hat. A true relic of internet history.
You know it. But before we get into the Boglum hat and all the other craziness, we gotta lay some groundwork.
Right, start from the beginning.
Exactly. So Kiwi Farms, bless their obsessive souls, put together this incredibly detailed timeline of Josh's life, going all the way back to his childhood.
And I'm guessing it's not all sunshine and roses.
Let's just say the guy's had a rough go of it. Born in 91, diagnosed with respiratory issues right off the bat, parents go through a nasty divorce and custody battle.
Sounds like a recipe for a chaotic childhood.
You could say that. And to make matters worse, you've got these conflicting accounts of his school years. His dad, Clint, paints him as this poor, bullied kid, but former classmates describe him as well.
Let's just say creepy, right?
Yeah, creepy covers it. And then there are the allegations of him acting inappropriately toward girls in school, which he just kind of brushed off.
Yikes. Not exactly painting a pretty picture here.
Definitely not.
Ugh.
And it's important to remember that Kiwi Farms is, well, Kiwi Farms. They're not exactly known for their objective reporting.
Right. A healthy dose of skepticism is always a good idea.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that grain of salt, one thing that comes through from his early years is this fascination with goth culture, especially the band Cradle of Filth, which looking at him now kind of makes sense.
Right. It's like all those early threads, the troubled childhood, the dark music, they all kind of weave together into the tapestry of Kingcobrajfs.
And speaking of tapestry, you got to see this 2014 documentary about him, Gothic King Cobra.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this. Isn't that like the holy grail of Kingcobrajfs lore?
Pretty much, yeah. It's this time capsule of early internet weirdness. And it really shows how he first started cultivating this online persona.
So we see a younger Josh in this documentary full of hopes and dreams.
Oh yeah, totally full of them. Even if those dreams were a little out there, let's say.
Which makes it all the more fascinating to see where he is now, right? The contrast is striking.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where things really get interesting.
Yeah.
Because this is where the sagas begin.
The sagas, oh
Yeah. Think of them as like epic chapters in the book of Kingcobrajfs, legendary events chronicled in all their glory on Kiwi Farms.
Give me an example. Hit me with a saga.
Okay, so let's start with the 2014 eviction saga classic, Kingcobrajfs right here.
I'm already intrigued. Tell me more.
So picture this Josh is living in this apartment, right? And I'm not sure what happened. Maybe he was trying to summon a demon or something, but he ends up causing like $6,000 worth of damage to the place.
$6,000? What kind of damage are we talking about here?
We're talking smoking, spray paint, the whole 9 yards. You name it, he probably did it to that poor apartment.
Oh, man. You'd think after something like that he'd learn his lesson, right?
You would think, wouldn't you? But nope, fast forward a bit, he's in another apartment, and guess what happens?
He gets evicted again.
Bingo. And you're not going to believe this, but he pretty much does the same thing all over again. Smoking, spray paint the works.
You gotta be kidding me. This guy's like a walking, talking apartment destroyer.
It's almost impressive in a weird way. Like, how does he even manage to find places that'll rent to him after the first time?
Right. You'd think landlords would have a picture of him up on their wall, like, do not rent to this man.
Right. And we haven't even gotten to the sex doll incident yet.
Hold on. There's a sex doll incident. This is getting better by the minute.
Oh, it's a classic. So Josh gets sent this expensive sex doll, right? And I'm not sure what he's expecting, but apparently things got a little too wild in the Cobra lair.
Too wild. What does that even mean in this context?
Well, let's just say the doll didn't make it out in one piece. And the best part, he blames the doll's quality for the incident.
Are you serious? That's incredible. The sheer audacity of this guy.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? And as if that wasn't enough, we've also got the mystery of Bailey.
Bailey. Who's Bailey?
Ah, Bailey. This is where things get a little murky. See, Bailey is supposedly Josh's goth girlfriend.
Goth girlfriend. This,
Yeah.
I gotta hear. Okay.
Right. But the thing is, no one's ever actually seen her.
Hmm.
There are no pictures, no videos, nothing. And some people think she's about as real as, like, a unicorn riding a dragon.
Oh, so she's like the Sasquatch of the Kingcobrajfs universe.
Exactly. And it's never really addressed directly, which just adds to the whole mystique.
Classic internet mystery. It's like he knows it keeps people talking, keeps them invested.
Oh, absolutely. And let's not forget, this is a guy who's constantly in financial trouble. Like, constantly.
Which is kind of ironic, right? I mean, he's achieved a certain level of internet fame, even if it's for being, well, himself. But he's still scrounging for cash.
Yep. Always hitting up his dad for money, begging for donations online. It's a whole thing.
And what does he spend all that money on? Mountain Dew? Video games?
Pretty much. Fast food, energy drinks, you name it. If it's bad for you and costs money, Kingcobrajfs is probably a fan.
It's almost tragic, isn't it? This guy has a platform, an audience, and he's squandering it all on junk food and energy drinks.
I know, right? It's like watching a car wreck in slow motion. You
Uh,
just can't look away, even though you know it's going to be bad.
You gotta admit, though, there's something weirdly fascinating about it all. The guy's a walking contradiction. He's frustrating, he's entertaining, and you can't help but wonder what he's gonna do next.
You hit the nail on the head. That's the Kingcobrajfs effect for you. He keeps you guessing, that's for sure. But hey, maybe that's how he funds his lavish lifestyle.
Right. Lavish. I wouldn't go that far.
But maybe not lavish, but you know what I mean? Gotta fuel those creative fires somehow.
Speaking of creative fires, we can't forget about Josh's musical aspirations.
Oh, right. The man, the myth, the musician.
He fancies himself quite the guitar virtuoso, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Thinks he's the second coming of Jimi Hendrix.
Well, the reviews on his musical talents seem to be mixed, to say the least.
That's put it nicely.
Yeah.
Let's just say that when it comes to music, Josh might be a little tone deaf.
Maybe tone deaf to criticism, too.
Oh, you think? This is a guy who once said that anyone who doesn't like his music is just too stupid to understand it.
That's quite the ego on him, I'll give him that.
Yeah, humility isn't exactly his strong suit, which is kind of funny, considering his stance on religion.
Oh, right. He's not a fan of organized religion, is he?
Not even a little bit. Calls it all BS and a tool of oppression.
Which is ironic, considering he's created his own little cult following online.
I know, right? It's called Cobra, and it's basically just him rambling about whatever pops into his head and his followers eating it up.
It's like a case study in parasocial relationships and the strange power dynamics that can develop online.
And speaking of strange power dynamics,
Icky.
we got to talk about Josh's employment history.
Oh, yes. Because a steady job and a regular paycheck are for suckers, right?
Literally. I mean, the guy's had jobs here and there, Wendy's, some bar and grill, even a gas station at one point.
Quite the resume he's building there.
Right. And the stories. Apparently, he got fired from Wendy's after some dedicated troll called Corporate and complained about his YouTube videos.
You're kidding? People have that much time on their hands.
Hey, never underestimate the dedication of internet trolls. But these days, Josh's main source of income, besides mooching off his dad and begging for donations, is his wand-making business.
Wand-making business. Did you say wand-making?
Yep, you heard that right. He makes and sells homemade magic wands online.
Okay, I gotta admit, that's kind of creative. I mean, who else can say they're a professional wand maker?
Right. Talk about a niche market. And some of these wands are pretty elaborate, too.
Like, what kind of magic can these wands supposedly perform?
Oh, I don't know about specific spells or anything, but some of them have crystals, feathers, even animal bones incorporated into the design.
Animal bones. That's getting a little dark, even for the Kingcobrajfs brand.
Well, it gets even better. Did you hear about the staff he made that incorporated the remains of his pet mantis, Mrs. Green?
His pet mantis. He incorporated his dead pet into a product and tried to sell it.
Yep, $666. Only the best for Mrs. Green's eternal slumber.
This guy is something else. I don't even know what to say. It's like he's constantly pushing the boundaries of weird.
That's Kingcobrajfs in a nutshell. But we're not done yet, because we still have to talk about the supporting cast in this whole saga.
Oh, right, because every good story needs its supporting characters.
Exactly. And let me tell you, this cast of characters is truly one for the ages.
I'm ready, hit me.
Okay, so first up, we've got Clint, Josh's long-suffering father.
Ah, the enabler.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, I think. I mean, he clearly loves his son, but you can also tell that he's completely exasperated by him.
I can only imagine. It's like that saying, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family.
Exactly. And then there's homeboy Scotty, Josh's ever-present sidekick.
Right. the best friend who's always around.
Yeah, but there's a lot of speculation about Scotty. Some people think he's a genuine friend, but others think he's taking advantage of Josh.
Which, given Josh's track record with money and decision-making, wouldn't be surprising.
Right. And then, of course, we have to mention Warlord.
Warlord. Who's this now?
A Warlord is a trip. He's this super edgy guy who's always hanging around, spouting off these cryptic pronouncements and acting like he's some kind of internet tough guy.
So basically, the embodiment of every cringy internet edgelord stereotype rolled into one.
Pretty much. But hey, he adds to the whole spectacle of it all, right?
I guess so. It wouldn't be the Kingcobrajfs show without a little bit of cringe, right?
Exactly. And speaking of spectacle, we got to talk about the Cobra relics.
The what now?
The Cobra relics. Think of them as like sacred artifacts in the Church of Kingcobrajfs.
Okay, you've officially lost me. What are we talking about here?
All right, so the most famous Cobra relic is, of course, the infamous Boglum hat.
Ah, yes. The hat, I've seen pictures. It's something else.
It's glorious, isn't it? I
Mm.
mean, this thing has been through it all. Stains, spills, you name it. It's like a badge of honor for him.
And it's become synonymous with his online persona, hasn't it? Like, you see that hat and you immediately think of Kingcobrajfs.
Exactly. It's like the holy grail of internet weirdness.
Yeah.
But it's not just the hat. We've also got the catchphrases.
Oh, the catchphrases. Don't even get me started. What's good, YouTube? Trust and believe. The man's a walking soundboard of quotable moments.
Right. It's like he's speaking a language that only he fully understands.
And yet somehow we can't help but listen, can we?
It's like a car crash you can't look away from. But instead of twisted metal and broken glass, it's just questionable decisions and an endless supply of Mountain Dew.
And yet we're still talking about him, aren't we? There's something oddly compelling about his ability to hold our attention.
Right. Like you said, it's fascinating. And it's not just us. Remember, we've got that whole subreddit to consider our Kingcobrajfs 00.
Ah, yes, the heart of the Cobraverse, where fans and haters alike come together to dissect his every move.
Don't forget the artists. Have you seen some of the fan art on there? People get seriously creative with it.
Oh, absolutely. It's like its own little art movement. You've got everything from realistic portraits to these bizarre, almost mythical interpretations of Josh.
Right. It's like he's become this legendary figure, this mythical creature of the internet.
It's kind of amazing when you think about it, how someone can become so ingrained in internet culture, even if it's for being.
Well, themselves.
Exactly. And the discussions on there. People analyze his every word, every action. It's like they're trying to decode some ancient scroll.
Well, there's definitely a lot to unpack there. The guy's a walking, talking enigma.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
So after spending all this time with Kingcobrajfs, reading the Kiwi Farms threads, diving into the subreddit, what's your final verdict?
Honestly, I'm not sure if there is a verdict. You know, he's a product of the internet, for better or worse. A fascinating case study in online persona for sure.
I think that's a good way to put it. He's this strange mix of contradictions of genuine moments and carefully constructed persona.
And maybe that's what makes him so intriguing. We can't quite figure him out. Is he a
Yeah.
genius? A train wreck? A little of both. Who knows? Maybe the mystery is part of the appeal.
Right. Exactly. The internet loves a good mystery.
Well, there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the wild world of Kingcobrajfs.
A world of Boglum hats, questionable life choices, and enough Mountain Dew to sink a battleship.
He's a reminder that the internet is a strange and wonderful place, full of unexpected characters and endless rabbit holes.
So the next time you're feeling brave, adventurous, or just need a good laugh,
Head on over to Kingcobrajfs's corner of the internet. You won't regret it. Well, maybe you will. But hey, at least it'll be an experience.
that's for sure.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up here. Join us next time when we'll delve into another corner of the internet. Until then, stay curious, my friends.